would be your top pieces of advice?
Well, I've started a bunch of companies, but I've never once sort of said to myself, hey, I want to start a company. What should I do? Or, I'm going to now figure out what company I want to start, or I'm going to like think about, anything like that. It's really just been, you get inspired by something and you become obsessed with it and say, this has got to exist. This would be an awesome experiment if it was easy for people to self-organize a local meeting about anything anywhere, And so I think that, it's, you can't jump into something because, well, I want to start a company, so I guess I'll start this one. It's got to be driven by what you're really passionate about. And,
well, particularly because it's like, occasionally people will sell their company in a year or two, but for the most part, these are 5 to 10 year, at least possibly longer endeavors. And if you don't love it, you're going to burn out really quick, right?
Yeah. And also, like what's the point? Like if you're you're on Earth and you can do something great or you can do something stupid. Like do something great.
Yeah. And what about just like biggest mistakes you've made or things that advice you'd give to people, things to avoid?
Yeah. Avoid the thinking that you have to do it all. If you are doing something worth doing, then there's other people who want to do it with you. And I'll tell you, like you've heard about people saying they have like a technical co-founder or this co-founder. I had a finance co-founder. Why? Because that's not my strength. And so Brendan McGovern, the guy who from the beginning has been the CFO of Meetup, who oversaw finance, legal, facilities, HR, all this stuff, it's been the greatest thing in the world because it lets, he loves doing that. I love doing other stuff. The other founders, Matt Meeker and Peter Kamali and we and Greg Whalen, we do our own thing. And so that the divide and conquer is, I think the mistake you can make is to say, well, I'm an entrepreneur now, so I think I should read TechCrunch all day and learn everything about cap sheets and cap tables and legal documents because that's what founders do. No, screw that. Your job is to make something awesome that people will thank you for and to divide and conquer with it and build a team that's going to do everything needed to make it work.
And prior to that, I think a really important thing is understanding what you're good at and what you're not and being honest with yourself about it.
Yeah.
Which I think is, to me, one of the biggest mistakes I think people make is they think they don't realize that, hey, you're not that good at finance or whatever. And having enough, it takes confidence, right? You have to know you're good at certain things to be able to admit, like you're happy to admit you're not good at finance because you have other skills, right? I don't know. I think the first, probably the simplest, most important thing for when you do this kind of stuff is just awareness of your weaknesses. Yep. Like I'm terrible at doing, actually managing people and getting stuff done, which is why I've had for my last two companies, Tom Pinkney, my co-founder, who does all that stuff, and I can go and talk to people like you and do other things. Yep. What else? Any other advice you'd like to give?
I say, shoot me if I got to get into a business where where I just have to kiss ass to a few customers as opposed to being able to have a broad,
so a large enterprise business or something.
Yeah, and I guess I guess what I'm saying there is that if you love that if you love the kind of schmoozing big sales thing, then get into a business that requires that, and as opposed to I'm sorry, let me put it this way. Piero Midyar, one of the early investors in Meetup, he said to me,
the founder of eBay.
Yeah, founder of eBay. He said the ideal thing is if you set up a business model so that you're only profitable if you're reaching the mission, not profitable with or without reaching the mission. And what he meant by that was, think of eBay. That their mission is to get more people buying and selling to each other and democratize part of the economy. And essentially, they will make more money if people are buying and selling more. And you got to love the beauty of that, as opposed to it being like an ad-based model where, you want to serve the people, that's the mission, but and you've also got to serve advertisers. With Meetup, we're basically, we get to go to work every day and say, as long as we make the product better, we're going to have more revenue. Because that's 80% of our business is just that getting paid for making a great product. We also have the sponsorship business, which we also set up for these. Unlike any other ad business that I see around the net, when a big company comes and says we want to sponsor all the moms meetups, we give a big chunk of the money to the communities, to the meetups. So it's making the meetups better. So our mission is more meetups. We want to revolutionize local community. And there's nothing that we do, there's nothing I have to spend time on that isn't about that. And
so it's basically a business model, like having your business model aligned with your product is sort of in a way what he's saying, right?
And it creates it just creates a real positive loop that keeps the company focused on, beating the odds and actually having a great product,
It's a shame
as
when you
opposed to
see
having a multiple, balance,
like you look at like TripAdvisor is a good example. I think where it used to be a beautiful very simple website. You'd have reviews, but they had to have a business model, and having reviews alone doesn't give you a business model. So now they have everywhere on the page, it's like buy a ticket, buy a ticket, buy a ticket.
Yeah.
And that's clearly, it's not. I don't blame them. They have to make money, I guess. But clearly the business model and the product are not in alignment, right?
Yeah. And if you can, if you're lucky enough to be in that, then set yourself up to do it for a long time, which is what I'm doing, and you get to just like make a great company. And by the way, the reinventing and revitalizing, this country and every country is really just going to be about how entrepreneurs and people are building companies that are built to be great companies, not built to sell and sell up to big ugly companies that'll screw it up.
Yeah. Good. All right. Well, good advice. And thanks for being here.